Unemployment benefits ended on Labor Day. It's a loss for millions of Americans. Biden won't extend unemployment benefits. Is this the right call? Welcome to America Uncovered. I'm Chris Chappell. Labor Day is a day to celebrate workers. And what better way to celebrate than to remind everyone they have to get back to work? Because this year, the Labor Day weekend also marked the end of COVID-era federal unemployment benefits. This is like if on Mother's Day, instead of getting your mom cards and flowers, you told her to get off her lazy butt and go get a job.
After more than 17 months of expanded benefits, federal pandemic unemployment programs are set to end today, cutting off weekly payments to nearly 7.5 million people across the country. This sudden expiration of emergency federal assistance has some economists worried, predicting there could be a flood of job seekers as well as a plunge in consumer spending.
That 7.5 million figure comes from the Century Foundation, a left-leaning think tank. These are the 4 federal programs that ended. And these are the 4 television programs that somehow haven't ended. If you're looking to end wasteful spending, start here, government. According to the Century Foundation, 3.3 million people will lose benefits provided by the Pandemic Emergency Unemployment Compensation Program. 4.2 million workers will lose access to the Pandemic Unemployment Assistance. This will especially hurt self-employed individuals and gig workers. Another 1.2 million additional workers will lose benefits in states that cut programs early. And 330 million Americans won't lose anything of value if these 4 shows are canceled. On top of all that, unemployed Americans will get hit again on September 30th. That's when the government stops covering 100% of the Cobra program. And I'm not talking about Cobra Kai, which is a program that thankfully isn't ending. Cobra is a program where unemployed Americans can stay on their previous employer's health insurance plans as long as they pay a higher insurance premium. As part of the American Rescue Plan passed in March, the government was paying for Cobra instead. But that stops at the end of September. So if these folks don't get new jobs with new health benefits, they'll have no choice but to go uninsured or buy their own health insurance through Obamacare. At any rate, a lot of aid programs are ending, and numerous White House economic advisors are frustrated by President Biden's support for letting the aid lapse. But Biden says states could instead use the $350 billion in aid provided by the American Rescue Plan to extend some of these benefits. The problem is, it seems not a single state is likely to do that. So was this the right call? More after the break. Welcome back. The Biden administration has ended a lot of the pandemic-era unemployment benefits, and they defended that by saying unemployment benefits were supposed to be temporary, not permanent.
It is important for people to understand factually that the president, no one from the administration has ever proposed making these permanent or doing it over the long term.
Many on the political right agree with the Biden administration on this, but will refuse to admit it in public. They argue federal unemployment benefits do more harm than good in the long run. It's like that old saying, if you give a man a fish, he eats for a day. If you send millions of Americans fish every other week in the mail, it destroys the ecosystem. It makes their mailboxes smell disgusting. The National Review, a conservative news outlet, calls continued federal unemployment benefits self-defeating. The worker shortage is exacerbated by unemployment benefits that leave recipients better off without jobs. In other words, conservatives went from illegal immigrants are taking our jobs to why won't anyone take our jobs? Back in May, the U.S. Chamber of Commerce called for ending $300 weekly supplemental unemployment benefits to address labor shortages. 25 Republican-led states and 1 Democrat-led state ended unemployment benefits. The aim was to encourage people to get out and start working, like all those lazy moms out there. Press Secretary Jen Psaki said the states had every right to do so. But many on the left disagree, and will say so in public. The Brookings Institution, a left-leaning think tank, says it's too soon to allow unemployment benefits to end. And Spencer Myers, a 25-year-old who sits around playing Xbox and eating Doritos all day, agrees, because he's so close to getting his Twitch channel off the ground, man. But a Yale study found that expanded jobless benefits didn't reduce employment. J.P. Morgan found that unemployment insurance benefits had little effect on job searches. Goldman Sachs economists found that states that ended federal unemployment benefits early saw no clear job gains, especially Twitch channels. The Century Foundation argues in favor of unemployment benefits by saying the end of unemployment benefits will actually slow economic growth. And Vox News calls ending the benefits a cruel unemployment experiment. A cruel unemployment experiment? You mean like when people lost their jobs thanks to the government's COVID lockdowns? But the Wall Street Journal says economists warn that we shouldn't draw conclusions yet because it might be too early to detect such an effect. And state reopenings and virus-related restrictions by local governments could be masking the impact of the expiring benefits. In other words, like a pansexual, polyamorous, furries relationship status, it's complicated. But whether or not there's a clear connection between unemployment benefits and people being willing to work or being able to find work, there are a lot of other factors to consider. More after the break. Welcome back. This may surprise you, but in a multi-billion-dollar federal government program designed to give out money, there's widespread waste and abuse. The Heritage Foundation, a conservative think tank, says the massive expansion in unemployment insurance benefits may be the most flawed, wasteful, and damaging part of the government's COVID-19 economic policy response. That's because more people are collecting unemployment benefits than the number of unemployed people. Is Oprah in charge of handing out these benefits? You get unemployment benefits. You get unemployment benefits. Everyone gets unemployment benefits. As you can see here, before the pandemic, less than 40% of unemployed workers received unemployment benefits, and that's normally what it's been historically. But since Congress expanded benefits during the pandemic, the number of people claiming unemployment benefits skyrocketed, as high as 216% at its peak. Theoretically, it should never be more than 100%, which would mean every unemployed American was receiving government benefits. Now, before you say, holy cow, there must be massive fraud, let me post this chart on Facebook. The truth is a little more complicated. Also, the only things anyone should be posting on Facebook these days are pictures of unlikely animal friends. Quit QAnon, join Qtanon. In the past, unemployment benefits went only to people who did not have a job and were actively looking for work. Only this group was considered unemployed for the purpose of getting benefits. But during COVID, Congress extended the benefits to cover a lot of people who have simply stopped looking for work, or in some cases, people who were just doing a bit of freelance work. These people could still collect benefits, but are technically not counted as unemployed, and that skews the data. That's how you can theoretically get above the 100% line, but without fraud. That being said, there's still tons of fraud. I'm looking at you, moms. By putting an unprecedentedly high value on unemployment insurance benefits, making them available for 3 times as long as usual, widening eligibility, and reducing verification requirements, unemployment insurance benefits became a high-value, easily accessible target for criminals. California is a prime example. It admits it paid out as much as 31 billion taxpayer dollars to scammers. Calling them scammers gives them a bit too much credit, though, since the government essentially put bags of cash in the middle of the street with a huge sign that says free money. So are there some ways to help people affected by the pandemic, but without giving billions of dollars to people who take advantage of the system? Those on the left propose providing other safety nets, like universal pre-kindergarten and a longer continuation of monthly child tax credit benefits. Those on the right propose things like universal savings accounts, which would allow people to earn interest and returns on their investments tax-free. And if those don't work, there's always Twitch. Or if you're desperate, OnlyFans. So what do you think? Should unemployment benefits be extended? Leave your comments below. And if you like this show, please know we could not do it without direct support from viewers like you. Visit patreon.com/AmericaUncovered and contribute $1 or more per episode to help us keep this show going. Once again, I'm Chris Chappell. Thanks for watching America Uncovered.